I am Trey and welcome to one of my videos. In this video it's me sharing how I've brought nature into my home environment, indoors and outdoors in a small space. So I want to share that, and also I'll be sharing my experiences of how it's been very beneficial for me, and my experience of how I've grown certain plants and any successes I've had with them. One of the things I tend to do is keep notes about what plants I have, and also the ones that are year round if they're outdoors, little ideas of the names of them so I can look up and see about the care, because you can't keep all of that in your head, at least I can't. So if you do have plants, I think it's a good idea to do this, because it's not always easy to keep a track of what it is you have, and if you have any problems with them or what kind of lighting they need, so you can position them right in the house or your outdoor space. Now this plant here is a Christmas cactus. I've had this a few years, as you can see by the size. Actually, it was a cut-in I got from my friend and colleague Harry, and he gave me the original plant, which is this part here. This is the original plant, and it was in a plant pot that was smaller than this for about 5 years, and then when I moved here I decided to put it in a bigger plant pot. If I come down you'll see it's in a much bigger plant pot, and since I did that, a couple of months ago, this kind of new growth was coming through at first before I planted it, and then all of this came up since potting it on. I mean, there's a massive amount of growth, so it was pretty much pot bound. So far, this plant has flowered every year. They call it a Christmas cactus, but I've never got it to flower at Christmas. It tends to come earlier for me, around about November time. But it is a gorgeous plant. Just a shame about the flowers; they don't last very long. I have some little stones in mine. I don't know if you can see them, quartz and stuff like that. Now they're stones that actually Harry gave me from some of his runs in the mountains, so I thought they'd be quite nice to put in with my plants. Where I live, before I go on, is it doesn't have a lot of bright daylight because it's a terraced house, so this plant doesn't like a lot of bright direct light, so it does really well in this south facing window, because with it being terrace it doesn't get a massive amount of light. So I'm hoping to get a great deal of flowers again this year with this plant. My fireplace, which I'm open to get rid of, to be honest, eventually. And I don't use the fire, and the fireplace is okay, but I don't really need it. So I'm going to get rid of that eventually and just put a shelf on there and have a nice big display on that wall of plants. But at the moment, what I've got is this purple waffle. It's a kind of ivy in a way. Absolutely gorgeous leaves. Can I just zoom in a little bit there for you? I mean, underneath, you can see the gorgeous colour, if you can. And it's a plant that you can get away with not direct sunlight. And most of the plants I have in my house, because it isn't very bright, I have to look for plants like that. This plant came, and it was one that Nigel got me in a very, 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 very tiny pot, about that big. And that was a month and a half ago, and I repotted it right away because it's totally pot bound into an 8-inch pot. And look at that, it's just sprung into life. Doesn't take too much care. It's a really easy plant to look after. Now the other plant I got recently, because I do like to have lots of different plants. This is a Croton plant. It was in a much smaller pot, slightly smaller than the one I've just showed you. It'd be about a 6-inch pot, I think it was in originally. And I've put it into a 12-inch pot. It was on offer actually at Wilko's, and local Wilko's, and these are the original leaves. Now it doesn't need a lot of direct light, but if it doesn't get enough light, what happens is the leaves come through and you don't get that variegation. So at the moment the leaves are coming through with just a little bit, so I might have to move this. However, I'm still getting some yellow veins in them, so it's okay at the minute. Probably in winter I'll have to move it. Doesn't take a lot of lot of water, I'm sorry. Easy care, slow growing plant. Really nice. I mean, I wipe the leaves with a damp cloth to get the dust off, but that is such a nice plant. And it's nice to be able to have different plants in, at least I find so, because it gives you a little bit of a challenge of growing different things and seeing how successful you can be. The warmest room and the brightest room in my house is my front bedroom, which I use as a craft room. And this bookshelf here has got pencils on it and books, my colouring books, but it's also got the peace lily. Now this is a cutting that Harry gave me. Harry likes to grow plants as well, and I put it in this lovely 8-inch coloured pot. It's not flowered yet. I mean, it's just a young plant. Well, originally I had this in my kitchen, but it was too cold in the kitchen, and that's a good thing really for me to want to find out what plants I've got. I look at the care. I'll try them in one place, and if it doesn't work, if my leaves are starting to look a bit strange, or like these are the original leaves and started looking a wee bit strange, or I've not got a lot of growth on it, I know I've got it in the wrong place. You know, it's not in the right place. So I've moved it about 3 weeks ago into this space, and I've already got a new leaf coming up here. So I know, and the leaves are looking healthier, and I know I've got it in the right place. You know, it's much happier in this room. It's warmer in here, and it's getting enough light without direct light. Hopefully, you maybe know, I maybe get lucky and get some flowers for my peace lily. It's very hard for me to get peace lilies to flower. I've had them before, but the leaves are really nice though. They're nice foliage leaves, so I like that as well. When I'm see growth and I've, you know, I'm kind of learning about which parts of the house is best for whatever plant, I get a real sense of satisfaction when I see that I'm making decisions for that plant, that it'll help it grow and it thrives. And compost wise, I always use a good quality compost. This is not peat compost. It's stuff that's got a lot of minerals in. I pay a little bit extra for it, but it really does feed the plant. I also use a little bit of Miracle Grow fertiliser in summer, but only in summer. So every day I will come to my plants and I'll give them a knock. And I do that because whatever I do, I can never ever stop getting gnat flies, and they lay the eggs in the soil. And even though I use soapy water to spray on them, and even insect repellent if I have a lot of them, they still come through. It's very hard not to get them. So when you knock them like that, you'll see them fly, tiny wee flies, and you know you need to treat them and kill those flies. And that's how I keep on top of it. And that way I kind of like I've kept on top of gnat flies, so I don't get a total infestation. Now this is one of my succulents. I bought 2 succulents this year, and I'm talking about 5 months ago. And they were in very, very tiny pots, little wee pots they were in, tiny pots. And I potted 2 of them together in this pot originally, this small kind of like porcelain pot. And I found that they were growing quite quickly, so I split them. So this one is one of them. Now I've not had any shoots on these, but it's still very healthy, a healthy plant. And I mean, in the past I've tried to grow succulents. People say that they're the easiest plants in the world to grow. I've not found that. I find that even though I'm very good at doing watering with them, with plants, I still can overwater these. They really are quite difficult that way for watering. However, to have the pleasure to see a really healthy succulent is a joy for me. I do like to see this, to get something to survive this long. Now, the other succulent, which I'll show you later, I took a leaf off it and I stuck it into some dryish compost just on top, and it's rooted, and you get a tiny look of a plant coming. Now, I have never been able to get a shoot go beyond this point because it tends to rot before it can get very established. So keeping my fingers crossed that this will take. Why am I doing that? Well, I can easily enough buy another little plant, and I know that they aren't expensive. But I just thought I'd have a little go at growing things from seed. And I have tried this a few times this year, growing things from seed or from a leaf. And I've had various success. And I'll chat with you about that in a little while. Now, this plant here, I bought in a local supermarket. It just called it an easy care plant. No name on it, and I thought, I'll get it. It was not this big, I might add, when I got it. It was half the size. And this was only, 3 months ago. And I found an app, a free app, and I looked to see what it was, because if you take a photograph, it'll find it for you. And this is a China doll plant. And then I looked up about China doll plant and realised I'm growing a tree. It's like, it's a bush come tree. I mean, I haven't got words for that. This thing is water thirsty. It likes to be well watered. This is the second pot I put it in. And I only repotted it maybe about 3 weeks ago. And you see all this new growth already? This is 3 weeks growth. I mean, it's just taken off. I love it. I mean, an easy care plant that will take off pretty quickly. You don't have to do much with it. It likes, this is a north-facing window, and it likes that. It doesn't like to be too bright because it burns the leaves. The leaves are so pretty, kind of delicate looking. I mean, it's created a little canopy here for my my Buddha dragon ornament. It just is an absolute joy to grow this. I'm having to look up care on how to stop it from getting too leggy, because otherwise it just stretches out and you don't have as many leaves in between, so I'm snipping it off. I've never grown one of these before, so this is going to be a learning curve for me. Now, when I say I get pleasure out of this, it really is. It's almost like you're giving a living thing, and it is giving a living thing TLC. And that actually makes me feel good to give a living thing TLC. So even if you can't have a pet, say, you can give plants love and care. And you can get a real sense of achievement and pleasure from that, and I really do. And I think it's been very beneficial for the effects of trauma, this growing these plants. And believe it or not, in the past I've had a lot more than this. But, you know, actually at the moment, I've only got a few. And you can see in the background there, that is my outside space, which I'll show you soon. But I haven't finished with all my indoor plants yet. Now, I did mention I decided to have a little go at growing things from seed, and Harry got me a set of herbs, and the only one that came out and actually grew were the chives. And I actually use these in food. These chives, they smell lovely, they taste lovely. But there was 3 herbs and chives. The chives were the only ones I got. So even though I have a bit of a green thumb, I can't grow everything. I just can't. And these ones here, I can't remember what seeds they are, but Harry gave me some seeds and I'm having a go at these. These have been in 3 weeks and they're starting to pop up. Now these are in my kitchen. I have big windows, see, big windows, and it makes them nice and bright. It's a very cool room though, so the only things that will really cope in this room is things that needs a lot of light but can stand cool weather, especially in winter. This here is a melon. Harry decided to stick a melon in a pot, and it's taken, so he's given me some, so I'll see how well I do with that. But the other ones here are, and I'll show you some other ones later on, bonsai trees. Now, I actually bought the kit for Harry as a gift. These here are the wisteria seeds. They've been in about 3 weeks. I think this is amazing considering they've only been in 3 weeks. Now, it comes in a kit. There was a few seeds in the kit, and Harry said, why don't we try and do them here? I think he thought that I've got a bit of a green thumb, I'd have some success. Now, when I bought this kit, and I'll show you the kit I bought. This is the kit I bought. Right, there's the kit. And it comes with different plants. I think there's they're the plants that you get. So you have the chance to grow these different ones. There's 5 different ones. There's a black pine, wisteria, Judas tree and red maple. Now, I thought, for some strange reason, I thought there were specific seeds for dwarf trees. No, they're not. These seeds are actually for big trees, but you restrict their pots to make them into small trees and by trimming as well. I mean, I could end up with a great big tree in my kitchen. Can you imagine that? I'm growing a wisteria tree in my kitchen. Well, actually, I'm growing a few. So what I'm going to do, because I've realised this, I'm going to put one eventually outside in my yard in a small pot and have a mini tree in my yard, because I think that'd be really cool. But that's, you know, if I can get them to survive. Now, this one, this plant here is Amaryllis from last year. And what I did, I've never been able to get this to happen. It grew last year, but I put it in a cupboard in the dark, and I brought it out this year only about 3 weeks ago. Started to water it slightly, put it in the light, and I'm starting to get growth again. So I'm hoping that this bulb will come back for this year and flower again. Hoping. Now this is again a new experience. I've never done this before, so keep my fingers crossed. But again, it's the pleasure of this attempting to grow things again, either bring them back from the previous year or grow things from seed, that it's given me so much pleasure. And the benefits of that mentally is good. You know, emotionally, I'm really enjoying it. Now I'm going to show you the rest of the bonsai I've seeded. These are the other 2 wisteria. Now these are all put in at the same time, and some are bigger than others. So some are doing better than others. Now in here is the red maple. Nothing's shown so far, but I read up that they can take up to 3 months to seed. So, you know, there's still hope for them yet. So one of these is definitely going in the yard eventually. And the others, I'm going to try, if they survive, I'm going to try and train them into mini bonsai trees, which will be awesome when you think about it. Something I've never done before, something quite unusual. And again, it's the connection to a living thing, a living plant, and training it and growing it from seed. It's just such a pleasure, and I'm getting a lot of pleasure out of that. Now these 2 here are my cactus, spiky cactus, monster cactus, and lots of mini spiky cactus. That flowered this year, the mini ones. Now, I've not repotted these. I've left them in the original pots. One of the reasons is they are lethal to repot. Look at the size of those spines on there. I mean, deadly or what? I mean, that's a lethal weapon, that thing. So I'm not going to be repotting these. I'm going to hope they'll survive quite a long time in these pots. But I do like them. I'm very careful about watering them as well. And the fact that I've had some flowers already on one of them makes me hopeful I'll get some more next year. Now this succulent, the one I showed earlier, this was the other tiny succulent I put in. At one point they both fit into that pot I showed earlier, the one single one. And then I decided to split them and I put this one in a great big pot. As you can see, it's so you grow, girl, and it's definitely grown. It's definitely grown. Now I've read up on succulents. You're supposed to keep them in a shallow pot so that they don't get waterlogged. So I have to be very careful with this because it hasn't got any holes in the bottom. So I put polystyrene in to make sure there's plenty of space between the soil and the water, so it's not standing in water. But I don't water this very much. I tend to wait till I see the leaves looking maybe a bit shriveled, then I know it needs watered. This here is a flower shoot, and it's so pretty, and it might even seed this, so I might get some seeds off this eventually, and I might have a go at growing from seed. Now the leaf I showed earlier is from this plant, and I plucked off one of the leaves and I'm trying to grow another one from a leaf. This is an awesome plant. It is huge. Considering how small this was 5 months ago, it looks like a completely different plant. Now, it could be that I've got a brilliant place for it in the kitchen, on the windowsill. It normally goes. It's cool enough and warm enough and light enough for these succulents and cactus. So maybe that's why now I'm having better luck with these kind of plants. And the real pleasure, honestly, I come in here every day. I have a little look and I do the same. I tap the pot, see if they've got any gnat flies in there. And sometimes I give them a little wipe. The leaves, I have to be careful with that. And I check the soil. I tend to put my finger in. And if it's dry up onto my knuckle, I know I can give them a little bit of a water. So that's how I check with that. And these cactus get watered at the same time. So then I know I'm not overwatering any of those plants. And yeah, watching this grow and thrive has been such a joy. Now I'm outside. This is my mini yard garden. Work in progress. One of the plant stands I got was this folding out one that hides my bins. But I've also got plants on top of the bins. That's a pansy, autumn pansy, which is doing really well. I bought some herbs and 2 of them are kept. One's the lavender and one's the thyme, and they are doing really well. Smell gorgeous. I mean, the leaves do, even though I've had no flowers. I've got begonias that I planted up for autumn, and they've done really well. Beautiful display. That's, I think it's black grass, that one that Harry gave me the cutting for that. I should be able to keep that for next year. On another little stand, I've got this absolutely awesome coleus. I'm open this coleus because I love variegated leaf plants. Will survive. I'll have to bring it indoors for winter because it won't survive outdoors. It doesn't survive. I haven't been pruning today, folks. Look, I've been neglecting my lal plant. I do this every day and I forgot to do it today. But this plant will have to come in winter. It could be too cold out here. But it should survive in the kitchen because it'll get light in there and it won't be too hot. So I'm hoping this will survive. But I like this plant so much. I'm going to get some seeds next year and see if I can grow them from seed. They're just gorgeous. These are cuttings that Harry's brought me, and God, the name of them have gone right out my head. I'm so sorry, Harry. But these I'm hoping will take. And I'll have some year-round plants, because these are year-round plants that I'm hoping to keep into my mini yard garden all the time. I have another plant stand here, and that's full of begonias. And I've also got, if you wonder what this is, fairy light. It really lights up at night time. It's lovely. It makes it such a nice space. And this here is another year-round plant, I think, flowering plant. So next year I'll get some flowers off that. Down here, I've got some plants over in the back there that are open to get seeds off for next year. Now these two are herb plants. Mint, no, sorry, that's mint, and that's lemon balm. Now, I thought I would make tea out of these, but the crop this year, because I've only started, I grew these from seed, and they're not strong enough. They haven't really matured enough to give me decent leaves for a cup of tea to use for the flavour. So I'm kind of hoping either they'll survive the winter and I'll get better next year, or I'll try it again next year, see how that goes. The poor geranium is looking a bit ill, but then again I've had this all summer, so that's another one I needed to prune. This tub in the corner is going back now, but it's got various flowering plants in, including this lily, which was gorgeous in summer, and that'll come back next year, and the poppy will. But these two will be taken out at the end of autumn, and I'll put some year-round plants in there then, because I've got some plants here that are year-round. And these two here, that's an azalea, the little flower, and this might get little flowers on as well, but it's mostly a foliage plant. It's really, really lovely colour purple, and I bought these for year-round. More pruning here, folks. Got to keep on top of the pruning, because you deadhead them, you get more plants and more flowers. There's one. Sorry about that. So yes, these are only a few weeks old. They came as very, very small plants and have already taken off. So obviously they're surviving in my yard, even though I don't have a lot of light. The thing I did have to watch out for in my yard is I had leaf munchers. They're like caterpillars, but they don't turn into anything other than caterpillars, and they just destroy leaves, and I had to use insecticide, which I don't like doing, but I couldn't keep on top of them. And now they're much healthier. So sometimes you have to resort to that to save your plants. But these two plants, corner plants, they are year round, and I will have a lovely display next year with these. So I'm kind of creating a space where next year, this is just the start of it, next year I'm going to have a much better display next year. However, I've had a good one this year. I'm really happy about it. I have plans for this space. I'm going to tidy up all the walls and the floor, but then I'm going to have shelves along the walls and different heights to put in different plants, to give it more dimension and depth. So it's going to look a lot better, I think, eventually. But for this year, I'm so pleased with what I've managed to achieve. And again, this is outdoor nature, indoors, in a very small yard. It's not very big. So I hope when you're looking at this, you can see something you could do yourself, even if it's just on a windowsill. So I hope anybody who's watched this video has found it a little bit interesting, maybe informative, maybe give you some ideas to bring nature into your own space. If you've got a small yard like I have a mini garden, as I will call it. So even if you don't want indoor plants, you can have a small space outside, a windowsill, a little balcony if you've got a balcony. And house plants as well. It's good for the air quality. So if you, especially foliage plants, they make a better oxygen in the environment. The pleasure I get of growing plants, I hope that's come over. I hope you get an idea of just how much I enjoy doing this, and the pleasure and the achievement, and how it makes me feel better mentally and emotionally looking after my little plant friends. So, you know how you get the neighbour cat lady? Well, I'm plant lady. Well, so I'm probably going to be getting that nickname now. So I'll say bye for now, and in the future I will come back and revisit how some of my plants are going. See if I show you if I've got any success with my bonsai experiment, and also, you know, if they survive the winter. And of course be able to share what I do with my outdoor mini garden, because it will change quite a bit, I think. This is just my first year of having plants out in my yard, so see how that progresses as well. So bye for now. If you've got any comments, please leave them. I'd love to read them, and any ideas and anything you've managed to grow as well in your own small space.